Spike's New Brother, Chapter 6, Part 3. Cadence and Shining Armor couldn't believe what they'd just heard from Twilight. She just finished explaining everything to them, and they still couldn't believe it.
Oh my! Even before he became a teen, Spike was quite a romantic, wasn't he?
Shining burst into pure laughter. That little salamander, he didn't even know he was putting on the charm. The dragon is a mare slayer, and a dangerous one at that. He's more stallion than any other stallion in Equestria. Cadence was blushing from ear to ear.
You said it. Why, I can see how you fell in love with him. If he told me all that, I would marry him on the spot.
Shining snapped his head around Twilight to notice this, and she backed away a little sheepishly. After all, his wife just told him that she would gladly marry a dragon when she is already married, but the response she got wasn't what she thought. Ha! See what I did tell you? Spike, the slayer of mares, the dragon Casanova of Canterlot. That's my little brother. Gosh, where did he get so grown? He needs to write a book. He would make a killing, giving dating advice, everything. Twilight was smiling. She was glad that Shining Armor didn't take it the wrong way, and she was definitely happy that he and Cadence understood and supported her. She finally got to tell Sunpony how she really felt, and she felt like a great weight was lifted off her shoulders. Shining Armor and Cadence each placed a hoof on her shoulder.
Sis, what you've told me, you really love him, and I'm happy for you. His heart is hurt, and I won't lie, it's gonna be tough, but I have no doubt that you'll win back his trust and his friendship. And when you do, I have no doubt that winning his love will be easy as pie.
Cadence nodded in agreement with her husband.
Well, you will have to share that experience with 6 other mares,
she said, chuckling with a smile.
Yeah.
Twilight also chuckled.
And I don't mind, as long as he loves me, well, I don't really care.
I'm so glad to hear that, and now I know why you fell in love with him. It also makes this much easier. Cadence, Twilight, and Shining Armor all turned around to see none other than Princess Celestia. She had come to the three hoping to find out any information about John and Spike's location, hoping that Twilight's parents had slipped up and sent her a letter telling where they were, but then she overheard Twilight explain everything. She just stood there listening to every word as a mother. She was proud of her son and still shocked.
My, Spike is a great romantic, it seems, and now I'm certain that his father was the romantic in the family. Hello, Twilight!
Cried a familiar voice coming back from Celestia, and Twilight knew exactly who it was.
Oh, hey, Pinkie Pie, are the others with you?
Pinkie Pie started bouncing up and down in place.
Yep, they sure are. Come on, girls!
One by one they began to enter the room. Fluttershy, Rarity, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, and Trixie sat down around the table.
Now, look here, Twilight Sparkle,
Trixie began from the group.
You and I have had our disagreements over the years, and I admit, most of them were my fault.
Upon saying this, everyone was shocked. No pony had ever expected Trixie to admit that she was wrong, or to even apologize. Twilight only looked at her in amazement.
Trixie, I accept your apology, and I'm really glad that you finally realized that it's not about you, and if you train hard, your magic will get better, and... Now, hold it right there. I'm glad you have forgiven me, and I know I need to train my magic a little bit more, but the only reason I'm even saying this at all is for my dragon, and I mean Spike. I love him. Sure, it was only one night, but hey, a mare can fall in love in one night. And I know when we marry, Spike would want us to get along, and that's the only reason why I'm doing this. Not for you, but for him. He is the only one who can tell me what I can and can't do. Only him.
She then stretched out her hoof to form a truce between her and Twilight. Twilight looked at her strangely, then extended her hoof and shook Trixie's. But before Trixie could let go, Twilight tightened her grip just a little, pulling her even closer to give her a friendly message.
Same to you. And I don't think just because you got an early start on us doesn't mean you're going to keep them all to yourself. Because, sister, that is not going to happen. Do you understand?
Celestia and the others saw the sparks flying between the two young mares' eyes. Cadence and Shining Armor only looked at each other and chuckled. Celestia joined them as well.
My. You're not even married, and it seems the competition has already begun.
Twilight and Trixie didn't really flinch. They didn't even dare look away from each other. They just glared into each other's eyes intensely. However, Trixie broke the silence first.
Like I said, I know he also loves the other girls. I know I can't keep them all to myself, but I did get the first kiss. The first kiss that matters, that is.
Twilight wasn't at all fazed by this. She had a coy smile on her face and shook her head. Twilight had her own trump card up her sleeve.
So, it doesn't matter if you're first. What matters is what he thinks. And I have the greatest advantage of all. I've known him since we were little children. I know things you don't even know about him. Heck, even things Celestia doesn't know. Things that can easily let me have an easy position to dominate.
Cadence busted out laughing. She couldn't believe what her sister-in-law was capable of.
Twilight, you go, girl. That's how you do it right for the ones that you love.
Wiping away the tears from her eyes.
I can't wait to see my nieces and nephews. With what I know, I think that might be sooner than you think.
Shining Armor was just speechless on what was going on.
Twilight, calm down, girl.
Celestia couldn't take it anymore. She was now more determined than ever to find Spike and John.
That said, I will have to double my efforts to find those two. I was hoping to find out more, but it seems even you don't even know where they are, Twilight.
Twilight finally broke away from Trixie, only shaking her head towards her mentor.
No, Princess, I don't know. I didn't even know my family had a summer home. I guess they built it so if anything happened, we would have a place to hide, or like a vacation home that's secret. Yeah, what is it with that dragon?
Rainbow Dash cut in. She was becoming impatient. She wanted to know where her dragon was.
Does he even know he's gonna marry one of the most awesome ponies in Equestria? What's wrong with him? Give me a chance with my speed, and I'll find him and John in less than an hour. 5 minutes tops,
She said, sticking her chest out with pride.
Listen, I'm not fast or strong, and I can't use magic, but I can talk to animals.
Fluttershy added.
And I know if I can ask anyone around, one of them just might have seen John and Spike. But I guess I can't blame them. We kind of went overboard last night. But that doesn't mean I don't love him. I do, and I want to start a family. I really do. I didn't mean to scare them.
Applejack went over to Fluttershy and gave her a hug. Don't you fret, Shy. You're not the only one who acts like a chicken with his head cut off. We all acted a little goofy. Fluttershy only smiled at Applejack.
Thank you, Applejack. I know you are going to make a great mother with that attitude. Hey, same to you.
Applejack smiled back.
And just so you know, Spike has been checking up on you for the last few days, so don't count yourself short. Wait, really?
Fluttershy said, feeling relieved.
He has... Oh my...
She started to get redder and redder by the second, and Applejack gave her a nod.
Yep, well, the same goes for me now, if I had to guess. That dragon has a romantic mode that he just can't control. Just figuring that out now, we hadn't noticed.
Celestia, Twilight, Cadence, Shining Armor, Rainbow Dash, and Pinkie Pie all looked at each other and face-huffed.
Darlings, I hate to burst your bubbles, but I think I'm gonna be the one that gets the most attention from him.
Rarity decided to also intervene in the situation. She wasn't going to lose to anyone, not even her closest friends.
Hey, what makes you say that?
Rainbow Dash stated in an angry tone. She hated losing, especially in this department, it seems. Rarity only shook her head in disappointment. She thought her friends would figure this out.
Rainbow Dash, darling, isn't it obvious? It's because I'm Spike's longtime crush. It means he's only had his eyes on me forever since, from the moment he came to Ponyville to 3 years later. Did you see what was happening when I kissed him? I do believe Spike was celebrating in his mind non-stop. If he would have thought anything else on the matter, his mind would have exploded. The only reason that I never went out with him was simply because he was still so young. But don't get me wrong, everything you can look for in a stallion, and unlike all the other stallions that are noble, he doesn't let his nobility go to his head. Spike treats every pony with respect as an equal. The moment I found out that he had his growth spurt, I already started having plans, drawn up to remodel my boutique so he could come live with me. I was gonna ask him last night, but then the whole incident with Twilight happened and, well, you know the rest. But that doesn't matter now. Once we find him, he's coming home with me. And yes, I've known that Spike gave up his crush on me, and that hurts me more than anything. But I can stand here and gladly say that after last night's kiss, he loves me, and he has been rekindled, and I think it's stronger than ever.
With that, Rarity stuck out her chest with pride. Every pony knew this. They knew Spike had a major crush on Rarity since he first came to Ponyville, but now that he's older, and Rarity's interested, the girls had a major obstacle. At that moment, each Marrow was putting on notice by Rarity. She meant business. While she would share Spike, she was going to do a good job of trying to hog him all to herself. Except Rainbow Dash. She wasn't going to give up without a fight.
Now, hold your horses, sister. Yes, I know that you have Spike and that he has a crush on you, but I also kissed him too, and if you forgot, he enjoyed it very much. He was speechless. Yeah, you may have Spike's longtime crush for you and your beautiful charms, but I speak for every pony here. We have our own unique charms. Don't think you could just outwit us that you have that all easy in your kind of hooves. I have my tomboyish charm. Fluttershy's beautiful and guys love a mare who's shy. She also has the aura of a housewife. Applejack, well, let's face it, what guy doesn't love a cow pony girl? Who, I ask you, Pinkie Pie, she's one of the funniest, nicest ponies in Equestria, and she's a great cook. Need I say more? So watch out, miss. I think I got this in the bag, because let's not forget. And I can't believe I'm saying this. The great and powerful Trixie has Spike going on for so much that she's triggered his romantic mode and made his claw all the way, taking a trip down to her south area. So let me warn you one last time. We are mares in love. We will use that and all we have at our disposal to win his heart. We know that he's not going to choose just one of us, and we don't need to share him, but I don't think for 1 second that you can just hug him all to yourself, just so you know.
With that, Rainbow Dash sat down at the table and placed her head in her hooves. She just sat there staring, giving her the classic, your turn, what are you gonna do now look. Rarity was just speechless. Mouth gaping open, she hadn't really counted on this. She knew that she was in for a fight, but now that she just realized how big a fight for Spike's attention was becoming, the rest of the time was dead silent. No pony said a word. Tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. But then the silence was broken by the Princess of the Sun.
Ah, I could live 1,000 years more and never be happier than I am now. I've seen 7 young ladies just dying to marry my son. Plus I have gained another son who turned out to be my sister's destined one. I would not exchange these coming days for anything.
Once again, that sinister smile was upon her face.
Not to mention I have no doubt in my mind anymore about me being a grandmother being the only question. But what I should be asking is, when will that be?
Cadence could barely breathe.
Please, no more. I can't breathe. Pour Spike and John out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Shining Armor only rubbed the back of his head, sighing. At first I thought those two had a chance. Well, it seems that I thought wrong. May Equestria watch over them. If not, they won't last long. Shining Armor began bursting into laughter. Twilight and the others could only blush at the comments. In a way, they were right. However, Celestia unfortunately had to break up this little joyous occasion.
Yes, that would be the case. Unfortunately, Twilight and Shining Armor's mother and father have put up a little kink into their plan. I must give it to them. It has been a long time since some pony had outwitted me. And I don't really blame them for what they did. They're only protecting their sons. If only we knew where they were. We could talk this out calmly so Spike and John would have more time to think, but not too much time. Like I said before, I will not let them have a chance to go to another country.
Twilight nodded in agreement.
Yes, I would like to talk with my Spike about my new brother, but the Everfree Forest is so big. Finding that house out there, it's not really going to be easy.
Every pony in the room had their heads deep in frustration and disappointment. After all, they can't even begin to try and move forward without the main guys in question. But then, out of nowhere, the answer basically spoke to them.
Do you mean that summer home about 200 miles northwest of the Everfree Forest that has a little lake near it? And does this human have brown hair? Also, I noticed that he does have a necklace just like Princess Luna's. So I think I know where it is.
Every pony's head snapped towards the entrance of the lobby that they were in. To every pony's surprise, 2 figures stood before them. One was Princess Luna, and the other one was a pony they never, ever thought would help them, or rather could help them. It was none other than Derpy Hooves. She was a grayish-colored Pegasus with a golden mane. One of her eyes was off, more like a lazy eye. She had a good heart, but she kind of messed things up a little bit. Her cutie mark was a picture of Bubbles, and she also worked for Equestria's post office. She loves to do her job as a male mare, but as for this case would be, however, that's not what every pony was thinking of right now. They were just thinking about the news that they had just heard.
Luna, did she just say what I think she just said?
Celestia asked. Luna had the biggest grin, which answered Celestia's question.
Yes, sister, it seems she's found the house. Also, she has confirmed that John and Spike are there with Twilight's parents.
All attention was on Derpy. At first she felt a little intimidated. No one has really ever given her this much attention before.
Derpy, you there, Sugar Cube?
Applejack began.
Yep, positive?
Derpy then smiled and shook her head.
Yes, I was on my way back to make some deliveries near the Everfree Forest when I kind of lost my way. As I was making my way back, I heard voices, and I was really puzzled, and no one really lived in that part of the Everfree Forest, so I kind of went to investigate. I went in making sure that I wasn't really discovered, and I overheard everything. John about Luna, about when they built that house, the magic they used, everything.
She then looked at Luna.
It seems to me he doesn't think he's worth it for you. That's why he left, but I know he does really like you.
Luna could barely contain herself from smiling.
Really? You mean it? Truly? Yes, yes. Now's my chance to prove to him how much I do care. Time to be supportive.
Celestia trotted up between them.
That's my little sister. Give it all you got. Derpy, can you take us to this house? Do you know exactly where it is? Yes, I do. I made a little map.
Derpy smiled. She went to his saddlebag and pulled it out. She did the logical thing and gave it to Twilight. She heard that Twilight was good with maps and charts, so she then examined it very carefully, eyes widened with excitement.
I know this location. Derpy is right. It's not really far from here. We can be there in less than an hour.
Celestia clapped her hooves together to get every pony's attention.
All right, every pony. We've been sitting here talking about this. Now, it's time to put those words into action. If you truly care, it's time to show it.
Twilight and the others looked at each other and then shouted,
You pet! Let's go! All right.
Celestia smiled.
Twilight, give me the map. Everyone gather around me. Luna, I may need your help with our combined strength, should we be able to teleport to this location. Are you ready?
Every pony nodded in agreement. Celestia once again had that coy smile on her face.
Then let's go,
she said with a smile. Her horn began to glow, as did Luna. The light covered every pony in the room. It started building and building until all could be heard was a loud pop. Now in the doorway was Maid Rose. She had overheard every single thing that they had said from the beginning to end. She only shook her head in disappointment and looked up to the ceiling.
Really? 1 day and 3 hours. That's all you can give John and Spike to hide? Come on. Well, I hope they really picked out their tuxedos and written their vows,
she said, chuckling, as she once again went on her way to do her daily duties. Meanwhile, back at the summer home, John had been pondering about what's happened ever since last night. Meeting Spike, being adopted by Celestia, and then engaged to her sister Luna, Princess of the Night. Man, my life has changed only in a short time. I can't believe I'm in Equestria. I can't believe a beautiful princess, once a homeless boy like me, is a special sun pony. Man, now I know what Spike's going through.
Right on, John, right on.
John was standing on the deck. He turned around towards the sliding door screen to the living room and saw Spike standing in the middle of it, rubbing the back of his head with his claws, still shaking off the grogginess.
Did I hear you right? You're engaged to home?
John chuckled.
Well, if it isn't Sleeping Beauty. Enjoy your nap?
Spike only frowned.
Ha ha, very funny. Now tell me what's going on.
John then proceeded to tell Spike on the events following after Spike passing out. Spike just stood there, mouth gaping wide open.
You've got to be kidding me. Well, now you know how I feel. Oh, by the way, congrats. I can't wait to see the kids.
John just looked at him with one eyebrow cocked up.
Really? You're gonna go there? I mean, at least I only have one Mr. I'm being chased by 7. Good luck on the honeymoon. I hope you survive.
Spike gulped at that statement.
Yeah, good point.
John and Spike looked at each other and just laughed. After calming down, there was a moment of silence. Each one was thinking, now that they really had time to think, and it wasn't really that bad. You know what, Spike? John asked.
What?
Spike answered.
We have all this wrong here. I mean, I have a beautiful princess after me, and all she wants to do is love me and marry me. What the heck am I running from?
Spike folded his arms and leaned on the railing of the deck.
Well, you said you were homeless, right? I guess you're kind of used to being hurt and not knowing what real love is, but just so you know, alicorns like Luna only marry those that are destined to be with. Nothing more, nothing less. Rarely do we have that in life, but don't be afraid to grab it. If you need help, I'm here for you, bro.
John had a tear in his eye.
Thanks, Spike. To be honest, I love Luna. She just wants to give me what I have always wanted. Someone to love, or in this case, some pony, but to be honest, you're the one who's been the most happiest. You've seen 7 beautiful mares to marry. Don't tell me that you've not checked out each one when you had the chance. Come on, it's just between us guys. Well, yeah.
Spike blushed a little.
Oh, who am I kidding? Of course I have. I'm a teen. That's what we do. You can't blame me.
John looked at Spike and laughed.
I knew it. You did want to marry them, you Casanova. You know it.
Spike gave a sly grin.
Fluttershy's got that housewife aura going on, and what a figure. Rainbow Dash says she's loyal, she's fun to be around, and that tomboy attitude is just so cute. It's awesome. And then there's Applejack, honest, hard-working, curves from apple bucking. I could go on, but I want to be respectful.
John chuckled while slapping his leg.
Oh, what about Rarity, Pinkie Pie, Trixie? Oh, Twilight.
John hyped up Spike, hoping to hear what Spike has to say about them.
Pinkie Pie, she's just full of life. With her, it's always a party, and she's a great cook. What more can a guy ask for? And then there's Trixie, and she's changed a lot, and I'm really happy for her. And oh, she can really kiss. I can really tell that she's passionate, and the rest I can learn along the way. I think that's the fun part.
John just couldn't get enough of this. He just kept laughing his guts out.
Twilight, I never thought that she had those feelings for me. She's always been like a sister to me, though I guess things do change. Why, now, I don't really know what to feel, but I think I do believe her when she said it wasn't her. If we talk more, yeah, I do want her and me to be together.
He said, smiling, a manly smile. A smile of a young dragon that knew what he wanted. The same thing went for John.
What about Rarity? I know you want her the most. She's been in your heart for the longest time.
Spike snapped his head towards him.
Are you kidding me? 3 years I've been after her. 3 years! I have been her pincushion and I didn't care. I had taken on Diamond Dogs 5 times my own size. Still nothing. After a while I decided to give up on her and what happens? She kisses me. Tells me she wants to marry me. Kids! Kids! I'm on a cloud 9 over here and I don't want to get off!
Spike screamed to the heavens. Spike then noticed that John was on the floor rolling from side to side laughing.
That's what I thought, and I repeat, you Casanova, you sly dog, you. Your father must have been one lady killer, and you inherited his gift of slaying females. I must have I love it. Let no mare be safe from this Casanova, Spike.
John and Spike looked at each other once again, and once again, they busted into laughter, but this was too soon to stop when they heard the sound of grocery bags hitting the floor. They turned around and saw Mr. and Mrs. Sparkle in the kitchen, staring at them. And they walked into the kitchen, worried about their parents.
Mom, Dad, are you alright?
John said.
Something wrong?
Spike said. Nightlight shook himself out of the daze he was in.
No, nothing's wrong.
Twilight Velvet also shook herself out of the daze.
And in a way, yes, it is.
John and Spike were now more confused than ever. They both looked at each other and then back to their parents.
Wait, huh?
They both said in unison. Just then the boys heard familiar voices that answered their question on why their parents were acting that way.
My, I'm glad to see and hear that you two finally understand your feelings.
John and Spike froze in place, the color draining from their bodies. Spike turned around quickly.
Mom?
John didn't as well.
Princess Celestia?
He then noticed Luna right beside, blushing profusely. She heard John finally admit that he loved her, and once again she was fidgeting with her hooves, and John gulped.
Oh.
Spike looked to his left to see that Twilight and the others were also overhearing him and their entire conversation. How he had been checking out the 6 to his dear friends out. Each one of the girls' faces were bright red. Applejack trotted up right away next to Fluttershy.
See, I told you he was checking us out,
she said with a wink toward Spike. Rainbow Dash flew up next to Rarity with a sly grin.
I told you, don't underestimate us. He's not just your Spike anymore.
Pinkie Pie was up next. She was happy, and Spike finally told her what she wanted to hear.
Spiky Bear, I'm so glad, and don't worry, I'll ensure that all your meals taste great. I am a mom-to-be, and I have a great cooking skill,
she said with a squeal. Applejack trotted up to Spike, and she had a sly grin on her face. She hadn't forgotten what Spike said about her.
So, you love really hard-working cowgirls with curves, huh? Well, I'm happy to oblige you, darling,
she said, nuzzling his cheek. Spike's face turned crimson red with embarrassment, but it wasn't over yet. Rarity was coming up to him.
Darling, I'm so sorry. I know I made you wait, and no, I have not forgotten all the things you did for me, and why you did it. You did it out of love, and I should have at least told you to wait for me, or that I will wait for you.
She then walked up to Spike and nuzzled him. Rarity whispered in his ear.
But I'm here now, and you don't have to wait. You may be a Casanova, and yes, you have slain many, many mares, but we're the only ones that you can slay,
she finished, kissing his cheek. Now, if Spike's face could turn any redder, it would be redder than the sun. Nightlight overheard every single word. Oh my, it seems we only added to the situation.
Yup, instead of cooling the situation down, we heated it up,
Twilight Velvet said. Spike shook his head trying to calm himself down. Then he noticed Twilight was in the far back. She saw that she was looking at her, and she trotted right up to him. Every pony in the room went silent, and Twilight nervously spoke to Spike.
Spike?
Twilight began. Spike looked at Twilight dead in the eyes. Yes, Twilight?
Is what you said true? Will you give me another chance and maybe an opportunity to be more?
Spike rubbed the back of his head. He began to pace back and forth, and every pony gave him room. Twilight watched on nervously, and in just a few seconds, he was about to say what he was going to determine the future. Spike then stopped, turned around, and looked at Twilight right in the eyes. At first, he looked at her with a stern face, but then something happened. Twilight began to tear up. Upon noticing, Spike gave her that same usual goofy, coy smile he always gave. Right then and there, she knew the answer.
Of course, Twilight, I forgive you.
Every pony in the room to Cadence and Shining Armor who were in the very back, listening to all and were out of breath from laughing too hard. But they were happy as the family was coming together once more. Celestia was extremely happy. Her son was no longer suffering, and the good news, well, greater news in her mind, he was on board.
Yeah, like I said, Mama mode kicked in,
Celestia said. John watched the whole event unfold with tears in his eyes.
That's my brother, you go, dragon!
Just then, Luna nuzzled his cheek, and surprised him a little. He didn't notice her to get that close to him, and then he noticed that all eyes were on him. Oh no, I know where this is going. Oh, fuck it. If you can't beat him, join him. Luna was about to speak, but John placed a finger on her lips to quiet her.
Shh, Luna, listen. I was scared. I'd never known love, so it came as a shock to find out I'm going to be your husband. It's more than a guy could ever dream of, and I'm living the dream, and if you still want me, if you don't mind me being a human, that is, well, what I mean to say is...
Every pony and dragon leaned in to hear what he had to say. They really wanted to know. Luna's eyes glistened with anticipation.
Will you be my special sun pony? He yelled at the top of his lungs. There, I said it. Yes, 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 of course I will, oh honey.
Wow, was all John could say before Luna speared him to the ground and stole his first kiss, which was hers as well. When that moment happened, every pony cheered from the top of their lungs.
It's about time,
shouted Celestia as she bounced up and down like a little kid with tears in her eyes, happy for her sister finally finding love.
Took you long enough?
Luna and John broke the embrace.
No kidding,
Luna said with a smile. John and Spike still looked a little confused.
No offense, but how the hey did you find us?
John asked. Celestia had a little coy smile.
Yes, you may have your rune magic to protect you, but you overlooked one pony,
Celestia both told them. At that point, said pony showed herself.
That's me.
Derpy pointed to herself. John and Spike face slapped themselves.
Derpy. Of course, I should have seen that coming.
They both face-palmed in unison. Every pony laughed, but once again the sinister smile of Celestia came into view.
So, now that we have everything sorted out,
Celestia began. Oh no, John and Spike gulped.
Here we go again.
But this time, they cut her off and stood their ground. Now, hold on, John said.
We know you want us to marry, but there are things that we need to, sort out. We can't rush this. Yeah, that's right.
Spike nodded in agreement.
Don't worry, Mom. We're not going to skip town on you and the girls.
Celestia nodded in defeat.
Okay, I know you're serious. I guess I went overboard, but there's one thing I must know. Yes, I need to know something too.
Twilight jumped in. Spike looked at Twilight rather funny.
What is it, Twilight? You can't be serious about wanting to marry...
Spike looked at Twilight's eyes. His pupils became as small as pebbles when he saw Twilight was blushing from ear to ear. Well, that answers that, and I'm assuming what the next question is, and you're gonna ask me something that involves me and John.
Yeah, me too.
John nodded in defeat. Luna, Celestia, and the girls nodded. Then Trixie trotted up.
Why, of course. Isn't it obvious?
John and Spike looked at each other nervously. Was all the two could say before they heard what they were about to be expecting.
What day is the wedding going to be?
The seven mares and Luna shouted in unison.